Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Pam Peak. Welcome to another episode of the 100 Club podcast. This is where we're going to be sharing stories of mental and physical transformation with amazing women like today and men who love to lift heavy things, both mentally and physically. So we really want to make sure that you know we're here to inspire as we perspire with our raw, real, and authentic comments about life's challenges, super tough times, and then triumphs as well. And also, this is a big shout out to everyone out there to come on down and join the Club 100. We love to have new members. Why? Because we love to support one another. It's such a great tribe to be part of. So please, all you have to do is run on over to at 100 Club 100, read all about us. And if you really want to come on down, then you just put 100, that's the red 100, on either side of your Twitter handle. And we will know that you're one of us. And guess what? At some time in the future, you may be telling your story too. How exciting is that? Okay, today I am so happy to welcome aboard Michelle Weber. Now, I've been fascinated with Michelle forever and a day. Michelle, you probably didn't know this because you just have the
No.
coolest, little handle. It says Jeep Life. And then you've got like really huge Jeeps all over the place. I'm trying to understand how this whole damn thing works. So, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
All right.
Thank
So,
you.
how appropriate you're in your gym, right? I
Yes.
mean, every time I do these podcasts, it's either somebody in a tie. We started losing that one. And then it's like, people just being people where they are doing work. And it looks like you're at the
Right.
gym getting ready to do some work. So,
Yes.
first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand that you're a very proud veteran, and I want to say on behalf of everyone, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Yes, I was an MP. I was stationed, I did all my training in Missouri, close to where I'm at now at Fort Leonard Wood. And then I was stationed in Germany before coming back to the States.
Aha.
So
So
it was
you're an MP. Yay.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you're a brethren, man, out there doing that medical stuff. Or was it military police?
Military police.
I'm
Mhm.
playing with you. All right. So military police it is. And now you're in the Midwest doing your thing. Now, what's up with this picture that you posted, as your pinned tweet? You said exactly the following. You don't even recognize the person you were 2 years ago. And there's one picture of you, dressed in a dress and, looking, lovely. And then there's another picture of you basically hard ass, is the way I'd put it. Just, getting the point across. It's almost like two completely separate people. So tell us why you posted that and what was
It
the
was
story?
the day that I took the second picture. I remembered I was in the gym and I walked by the mirror and it just caught me off guard. It was, I spent so long kind of avoiding looking in the mirror just because I was so unhappy with where I was at. And that day that I took that second picture, I just remember walking by. And for a moment, I really didn't recognize myself, like I kind of had to stop and turn around and go back and look because I just looked so different, and I think part of it is you sit and when you're working out every day and you're looking for those changes, you kind of, I don't know, you just don't really see the changes for them. So you really have to step back, I think, and or just kind of catch yourself off guard to see that big picture of really how far you've come. And so I don't know, I had that moment that day where I was like, wow, was that, because that just didn't look like the me that I see in my head. You know what I mean?
But that was like 2 years later from that
Yeah,
other picture, right?
right.
So what the heck were you doing in those 2 years? Were you just like avoiding mirrors? Were you, I mean, what
You know,
was happening? I mean, you didn't see a change taking place during that
you know,
time?
I did, gradually, you see it a little bit. Again, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I've had, this, I think it's a whole body dysmorphia, right? I don't always see myself, I don't think, the way that other people do. And so for a moment, it was almost like, this is how other people see me, right? Because I'm still seeing myself like I was in that other picture on the left. And for a minute, it was like I was able to kind of break out of that and see where I really was and how far I had come.
Yeah, it's a thing. You're not the first one, and God knows, not the last, who it's not even so much body dysmorphia. Let me tell you a little bit about, what this could also be. And that is, um, if you're a certain way for a long time. So let's just say you don't have to have like an extra 200 pounds on board. It just, maybe you're just unfit, you're smooth, you're soft, you don't have like great muscles, maybe you have an extra 20 on board, whatever. But you get used to that. That
Right.
becomes your norm. It's normal for you to just like pass by a mirror and kind of go, yeah, me. And the longer you're like that, then the more it gets cemented into your head that that's who you are.
Right.
And so when you actually change, I mean, I'm going to venture to guess, tell me if I'm wrong, that the way you are now, is you've been this way a shorter period of time than you were heavier and not very fit, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that means that your brain is all geared in for the other picture.
Right.
And so this is something I love to say. It's called Dr. Peak's famous rules. I just make this stuff up. It's MS, make stuff up. It's one of my favorite things to do. So what I have found is that, for every roughly 20 pounds that someone sheds, like there's this 20-pound difference thing going on ish. It takes no less than anywhere between 2 and 5 years for your brain to catch up. See, your body did it very nicely. 2 years were there. Your
Right.
brain's like, no, I'm not having any part of that. And it's still back over here. It's kind of what I call fat head. It's just, you just walk around like that. I
Yeah.
cannot tell you how many times people will walk by mirrors after they've gone through quite a transformation like you have. And they almost feel like someone's staring at them. And then they realize, my God, it's me.
Right.
That was me in the mirror. And that's kind of wild. What got you started on your change from where you were 2 years ago? What was
You know,
your aha moment?
so, obviously I was in the military and I'm in 10 times better shape than I ever was in the Army, which is crazy to me. And I've, been fit on and off throughout my life and kind of yo-yoed. But I guess the real catalyst was 2020. That year I'd gotten up to about almost 190 pounds. And my stepmother passed away from pancreatic cancer. Now, she never smoked, and I was a smoker at that point. But the first thing the doctors asked her was, do you smoke? That was one of the biggest causes of pancreatic cancer. So when she was diagnosed, my dad begged me to quit. And I was always stuck in the cycle. I didn't want to quit smoking because I was afraid to gain weight. And here I am again at this mark of almost 200 pounds. And I was like, if I quit now and then I gain another 10 pounds from quitting smoking, I'm gonna be pushing over that 200 mark. And I'd never been that heavy in my life. So I was like, I want to just get some weight off. And then my goal, that first of the year of 2020, I was like, I can't. I'm tired of being tired. I was tired. I was sitting in the car one day and I just had gained so much in my midsection that I felt like I couldn't even breathe, like it was just almost suffocating. And I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm tired of not being able to fit into clothes, of feeling uncomfortable. I'm tired of the smoking habit that I tried to quit 10 times. And I don't know, it just, when she was diagnosed, we knew it was a matter of time, probably. And that was just kind of my wake up call, I guess. At that point, I was like, she had been really healthy. She was not a smoker. She worked out all the time, but it happens. And so I was like, I may not be able to prevent something like that from happening, but I could at least try. So yeah, that was just kind of I don't know, I guess that was the wake up call that I really just needed to finally make those changes and make them stick, because every New Year's it was like, okay, lose weight, quit smoking, lose weight, quit smoking. And then every new year, it was the same resolutions over again. And I just got tired of making the same resolutions. And so I've been quit since October of 2020 smoking. I quit within a few months of that and then knocked off like 30 pounds before I quit the smoking. And I've kept that weight off. And then after about a year of really just dieting and changing my eating lifestyle, I got back into the gym and then spent about 9 months doing just cardio and trying to get moving again. And then I've really only been lifting for about 6 months. And now
Wow.
that's just what I'm just, loving and passionate about and obsessed with.
And so, wow, what a journey. How tall are you?
5'7".
Okay,
Barefoot.
so good. Every single inch of it counts, man.
Right.
And the way it goes when you get tall, it's a good thing. So amazing. So what you did was you had a wake-up call. And as I've said so often in many of these podcasts, everyone's aha is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them. It's like I constantly say what seems to be like a no-brainer for an aha moment sometimes just eludes people and they're like, whatever, and back and forth. But in your case, it was someone who, was close to you, was family, and, running into a problem. And it's so interesting that you remembered that one thing the doctor said about the smoking and it just stuck, because I think you were already kind of in a place where you want to make the change.
Yeah.
It was sort of like you're on the ledge. What's gonna like kick you over here to the change thing? And there it was. So you did mostly cardio to start with, and then you used nutrition and cardio.
I actually, from the entire first year that I got off about 20 pounds, that first 20 pounds I knocked off was, I pretty much just went to a keto lifestyle. I cut the carbs, I cut the sugar, and that was the biggest change I made. And, 20 pounds just seemed to kind of come off like that. But then I was hitting that kind of skinny fat phase, right? I think the lowest I ever got down to was like 159. And I was just so happy to be below 160, let alone out of the 180s. But, I had no muscle whatsoever, so that's when I kind of just started with the cardio. And again, I spent about a year doing just cardio and kind of playing with the weight machines. But I was like a lot of people, I really hadn't spent any time lifting weights, doing free weights. I was kind of nervous about going over into that section because I just didn't really have any
section.
Yeah,
that section where the bros are. The bros.
Because I just didn't have any guidance. So I've kind of this whole journey, I've just figured everything out on my own. And, one day I was just like, I'm tired of doing cardio. I really want to kind of venture over into the weight section. And so I was like, I just sucked it up and I was like, I'm just going to be uncomfortable for a minute and I'll figure my way around and figure out what I'm doing. And next thing you know, I kind of just went over to weights and didn't really look back at cardio. So, I
Interesting.
still,
Did you get guidance? I mean, didn't you learn some of this in the Army?
a little, not Army. It's so funny. I was just talking to somebody about this, and it was really, even after training, once I got to my unit, we would get up and do PT, but it was kind of just running push-up sit-ups, running push-up sit-ups. I mean, if there was any weight training, it was like, yeah, you can go to the gym and do your own thing on your own time, but there was just no focus on that at all when I was in.
I'm really surprised because I would imagine, that we would want our armed forces to be,
Yeah,
pretty jacked and
right.
just,
Yeah.
be strong and powerful. So
I
I'm surprised.
I never set foot in a weight room within my unit when I was in Germany. It was just, yeah,
That's
running,
crazy.
lots of running and push-ups and sit-ups and outdoor PT, but no weights or
How
weight training.
interesting. So
Yeah.
how did you learn how to lift weights when you decided to finally venture into that section? I mean, did you get
Just
some guidance?
watching other people.
Oh, is that all?
Re-
Interesting.
pretty, it's kind of like with my Jeep. I mean, I've tried to do everything to that Jeep, and I pretty much watch a YouTube video and I watch somebody else and I just kind of figure it out on my own. And
Wow. I
yeah,
mean, I'm impressed because so many people, especially women, will seek out a fitness trainer, to kind of show them the appropriate form and, kind of go to that place. But you didn't do that?
YouTube. I really just watched a lot of videos, especially when it came to trying to figure out form for different exercises and squats and, that kind of thing. Yeah, I would just look up videos, different training videos. And I did get a coach about 2 months ago. So in April, I started working with a coach because I originally was going to go and do a CrossFit class. And he was like, I don't think that's really what you want to do. And I said, no, I think I really want to do bodybuilding. I would really like to compete at some point in the future. I feel like I have a natural build to put on muscle. And he said, I think you do too. And he said, let's just scrap the CrossFit and let's get you a coach and get you a more structured plan. Because he was like, it seems like you're very driven to do things on your own. You've gotten yourself this far on your own. He was like, I think you just need a structured training plan. And so I've been working with a guy for about 2 months, and he pretty much gives me my workouts, and we meet once a week and kind of go over form and different exercises. And then he adjusts my training routine. So at this point, I have an ultimate goal of wanting to do a bodybuilding competition, hopefully within the next 11 to 12 months is kind of the plan. So, I may have to adjust that time frame, which is fine, but that's kind of the overarching goal at this point.
How cool is that? So that brings me then to our Club 100 community, which has a lot of bodybuilders and has power lifters and just people who love to lift heavy things just for the sake of
Right.
it. And it's good to be strong and everything. So how did you get connected with Club 100?
It's really funny. I've been on Twitter for a long time. And one day I just noticed that I was interacting with more and more people with these hundreds around their names. And Coach Buddy is the one that eventually kind of brought me on board. And I'd been talking with him and Jason Haddix and a few other people. And, I was just so motivated and inspired by these people. It's crazy. If you looked at my Twitter feed, even 3 months ago, it was just two completely different people. I mean, this 100 Club is just so amazing. Everybody in there is so amazing. My entire mental, my mindset, my attitude, everything has shifted so much in the last 2 to 3 months of just interacting with everybody in this club. And, I think, of course, just with my journey and getting more fit, more healthy, just has really helped my mindset. But yeah, I just turned around and everybody I'm talking to was a part of this club. And I was like, I want to be a part of that, just because
Yeah,
the,
Buddy was the one who reached out to me as well. And then that was followed soon by Dookie. And
right.
next thing I knew, I said, are there any like women here? I mean, am I it? What's going on? And then I saw your feed and I thought, well, she sounds like fun. And remember the tweets we were doing not so long ago when somebody had asked a question like, hey, um, are men helpful to women in the weight room? You know what I mean? Like, are they
Right.
are they annoying? Are they helpful? Are they supportive? Will they spot you if you need it? If you had a question, would they be cool about that? And I think one of you, because there were a bunch of us on this one, it was kind of fun. One of you said, well, if you can get them away from the mirror and taking pictures of themselves, then maybe they could. Just
Right.
saying, I was just throwing it out there. But I think we all agreed that, I mean, I personally have never been hassled or harangued by anyone in the decades I've been lifting, other than, just sort of moderately irritating people who don't put their weights back and,
Right.
hog the equipment. And I'm like, seriously. But most of the time I have just been pleased and delighted
I
by,
have too.
have you noticed that too?
I've had such a great experience. I mean, with the gym that I've been at, within the fitness community, just in general on Twitter. I don't know. I know people have had bad experiences, and I've seen videos, of people kind of poking fun at people at the gym for different things, but I've just never experienced any of that. I've experienced nothing but support for the most part from men and women, which has been really nice.
I think that people need to hear that. I think the mass majority of gyms, I'm going to be so bold as to say without any, published study here, but I think the mass majority of gyms are just cool places. And,
Yeah.
people like to make friends and just hang out. And after a while, there's the usual cast of characters who show up at the gym. And after a while, don't you get to kind of know who they are?
Yeah.
And it's fun. And, you high five each other as you walk in and maybe break out into a little chat in between sets and whatever. And it's just kind of like, I would call it a family. What
Yeah.
would you, does that make sense?
Definitely. And, it's funny, I started this journey, obviously for me, right, to get healthy and to get fit again. But one of the best parts about this journey has been the relationships, the being motivated and inspired by others, and then me motivating, inspiring people that I didn't even know. Like at the gym, there was a lady at my gym, a little bit older, and I didn't know, but for like that year that she apparently was watching me come in there every day and just work my butt off. And she came up to me one day and she said, I want you to know I've lost almost 100 pounds. And part of it is just from watching you come in here and sweat your butt off on that machine every day. And she said, you have really motivated me. And I was like blown away, first of all, by that. And then she came up to me again about 4 months later and she said, you know what? I've seen you move over to the weights and you're looking amazing. Will you show me around the weight section? She was like, I'm ready to get away from cardio. I'm at 100 pounds lost and I want to start doing what you're doing over there now. And so I spent like a day helping her, show her around, even though I'm still kind of figuring out my way around. And she gave me this card the other day, just, saying thank you. And she's like, I couldn't do this journey without people like you helping me out along the way. And so I don't know, again, it just goes back to that. There's just so many other parts of this journey that have been so rewarding besides just the personal reward of getting healthier and more fit and feeling better.
And that's just like what I said in the beginning. You were inspiring while you were perspiring. And
Right,
and you know what's really interesting is when you get into your zone, you've got that acid focus, you don't even realize other people are watching.
right.
It happens all the time. And then eventually maybe someone might come up and actually say something like this woman did, which I think is absolutely extraordinary. And I really feel like that's what happens when people come into the gym, which is sort of like a Roman arena of craziness in there. And you start making friends and you just start watching people. It's amazing um, the effect
Yeah.
you can have, the benefit you can have with other people. So, what were the hardest times for you? Your biggest challenges when you were morphing from where you were 2 years ago to where you are today? Because it couldn't have been a dance. You were giving up smoking, which, as a physician, I'm like, yes, yeah, let's do a lot of that. But at the same time, you were also taking yourself on with your nutrition and your fitness and all the rest of it. But it can't have been a party. So maybe what were the hardest parts so that people out there can just
You
sort of
know,
embrace the work that you did?
I think, and I'm not going to say that I didn't have struggles. I think, I've done this so many times before and bounced back and forth and not failed, but started this journey and then quit because it got tough. And I think this time it wasn't as difficult or as challenging because I had a different mindset. Like when I changed over to keto and I said, okay, I've got to give up sugar and I've got to give up, for me, giving up the carbs and the sugar initially, at least. Like now I'm eating good carbs again, right? Because I see how that works with my training and my plan now. But before, it worked for me to get rid of that stuff. But I found substitutions. There's zero carb breads out there. I found sweeteners that I could use. So I wasn't just giving everything up and feeling like I was giving it all up and
And
having to
feeling
sacrifice so
deprived.
much.
Yeah.
Right, deprived, because that's, I think, what leads people to do that whole yoga, dieting back and forth. And so, I think there's always days where I've doubted myself and I've said, I feel like I've worked my butt off for a month and I'm not seeing any progress, but then I just kind of tell myself, you've got to just stick with it. It took 2 years or 4 years to put the weight on. It's going to take some time to get it back off again. So I think it's just getting through those moments and those days of self-doubt and talking yourself through that. For me, were the biggest challenges. Is really just, all up here.
That is exactly what I wanted to hear because, and everyone out there who's listening needs to hear this too. And that is, people think, oh, she goes to the gym and she's sweating and lifting all those heavy things and running and doing all this stuff. Okay. And that's where the hard stuff is. No,
No, that's the easy
I can,
part.
no, this is the hardest part because
Yep.
this is the part that wants to quit. This is the
Hmm.
part that, comes in with all those little justifications. It's just, a lovely day today. So I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to work out. Just this one day. See, watch when that 4-letter word pops out of your mouth. It's just. It's the just word that's going to get you in trouble. Just one more serving, just, like that. Instead of the minute you think that this word's going to be popping out of your mouth, stop yourself dead in your tracks and just say, not doing it. Not today, not ever. No, no, no. And do exactly what you did. What you did was you coached yourself. You talked to yourself. You said, no, that's not working. Nah, I kind of been there before, been there, done that, didn't go so well. And then there's that little voice in the back of your head from the doctor,
Right.
about the and then there's that. And thank God he gave up the smoking. Jesus, it was like during COVID. I just like,
Yeah.
really, let's just roast our lungs while the virus is running after it. So, all this going on, I just think that the biggest life lesson here is that when you do want to make a change, it's coming from your head. If your head isn't first engaged, then forget it. That's why
Yeah.
I always quote those three words from Flo Jo, the famous sprinter. She loved these. It was, you start with believe. Once the brain is like into the, I'm going to do this. I believe I can do this. Like, get out of my way. I can do this. Then the next word is achieve, because you can't achieve unless you believe you can achieve. And then the final one is succeed. So it's believe, achieve, succeed. And I'm just so glad that you affirmed it all over again by really talking about, the issue of mindset, of where your
Hmm.
head is at, and how you have to keep doing course corrections with your mind more than
Constantly.
anything else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is what's your biggest challenge right now? Here you are now, a couple years later, you have all these achievements now, Michelle. And so now you're pushing forth, you have this goal in mind. So what's
Oh,
it?
it's still up here. I mean, there's still, I mean, you have to, like you said, I've spent my whole life. Right now, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. And yet, I'm nowhere close to where I would need to be if I were going to get on stage for competition, right? I still have a really long way to go. So I still struggle right now with getting my head around the fact that I am actually going to be capable of conditioning my body to the level that's going to be needed to get on a stage, which I would like to do. So, I'm every day it's seeming more and more possible to me. The more I put a picture up not long ago of my back, a before and after picture of my back, which started out with this shape and now it's this shape, right?
I know
And
you're Ving out.
oh my gosh, I just, seeing that difference and seeing just how that change to me was huge. And that's when I was really starting to go, okay, you know what, I can do this. But again, it's every day, it's, there's still that little voice in my head that says, this is so far beyond anything you've ever done before, where I'm wanting to go. But I think I'll get there. I know I'll get there.
Michelle,
So
you know what the old saying is, you know, true change, transformational change always occurs outside your comfort zone.
mhm,
So when you say, well, I've never been there before, you know what I say? Cool.
right.
Enjoy the ride. Sounds like a hell of an adventure. Why not take it all the
Yeah,
way, and what's to lose? Seriously,
right.
you have a dream. Play it out, see where it takes you. This all sounds absolutely, truly amazing to me. And I'm really proud of you, rock on with your seriously bad self here. And if, as we wrap this whole thing up, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to talk to someone out here. Okay. And that someone is a woman. It could be a man too, but especially if it's a woman who feels helpless, hopeless, and defeated. They're just sitting there and they've got like 50 large on board. They're sedentary, they're smooth, they have never really worked out at all. They look at your transformation and they say, I mean, how in the hell am I ever going to do something like that? But I really know deep in my heart I have got to change. So, what would you say to someone who came up to you like that at the gym?
You just have to start. You just have to get started, and then you just have to take it one day at a time. And that's how I did it. I just had to get started. That's the hardest part. And then it was just day by day until it went from, having to get up and go to the gym to where I work out 7 days a week. I mean, even on my off days, my active recovery days, I'm doing something because I just can't live without it now. And, that switch will happen, but it took a while. It took a minute of just having to kind of force myself to just get up and do it again the next day, do it again the next day.
Excellent. And so I've heard this now, countless interviews where people literally say almost the same thing. It's like all of you are colluding. You know the answer to the question. I just know. And that is, just put your foot ahead of the other foot, take that first step, and just keep it going. And
Yeah,
no matter, there's no pace that has to be set, nothing. You just start where you are.
exactly.
And
Mhm.
like, the monkey brain that starts, coming in. How did you get in this kind of a shape in the first place? Shame on you. What the hell were you thinking? Now look at you, and blah, blah, blah. There's all this, shoulding on yourself. I should have been in better shape. So you got to like smack that little Hummer, and then you've got to be able to just sort of get right down to it and take that
Right.
first step. You're absolutely inspirational. And before we
Thank you.
close, before we close, I just have to understand what's with you and Jeeps.
It's just kind of a, you just don't know unless you have a Jeep. You get a Jeep, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, I want bigger tires. And oh, now I want to do this to it. And I want to do that to it. And it just becomes kind of an obsession.
Okay, so I'm taking that some of this probably happened while you were in Texas. Yes.
It is a Texas themed Jeep. I'm from Texas, so a lot of people in Missouri don't get it. It's a burnt Jeep, and of course, I'm a UT from a UT family, which is burnt orange. So that's where the whole Bevo's the University of Texas mascot. It's a Longhorn, so
I
that's where the
see.
Longhorn and the Bevo name come from, and the horns on the front. So
Okay, that's pretty scary looking. Everyone go over to at Texas. So that's at T, capital T, small x. And then the next word is security, and then gal. So it's at TX security gal. And her name on top is Jeep Life, with, of course, the 100s on either side of that, along with, it looks like the Texas Star, right? Is that a little Texas
yes.
Star going on there? I'm just, I don't want to presume anything now, but there it is. Michelle, you are absolutely an inspiration. You're very authentic, and I think your words are going to resonate with so many people. I truly do. And thank you for sharing your story today on the Club 100 podcast, because I think it meant a lot, not just to you, but to a whole lot of folk out there. Might want to even show it to that lady, who's in the gym, as soon as it goes live. So thank you for being on the podcast. And everyone else, this wraps up another episode of the Club 100 podcast. Follow us at 100 Club 100. And again, if you want to become a member, all you got to do is just come on over to our little feed at 100 Club 100, have a little scoping of what's going on over there, and then a couple 100s on either side of your Twitter handle, and you're in. And then we can help support you as well, and you'll get a chance to mix it up with Michelle as much as you want. So thank you very, very much. I'm Dr. Pam
Thank
Peak.
you.
And I'm telling you, Michelle, you made my day, and you're going to make everyone else's day too. So I'm Dr. Pam Peak, and I am having a blast hosting the Club 100 podcast. And that's it for today. Catch you on the next one.